Good evening, everyone. I hope we are well. Let me just see. Am I fine here? Yeah, we are a bit early. Hello. It's Mickey Joe. How are we keeping? How are we doing? Happy Saturday. Yeah, how are we all keeping? I know we are early. Um, about time. Just to say, about time. First of all, we have new lighting in the room, which is it's a lot more brighter. You can see it 100% here. So hopefully it's a bit more brighter and stuff. You can see a bit more, and you can see me a bit better because sometimes it was hard to see me. It was just the light never would come over this side of the room. Every other part of the room was okay, but as soon as this side was always the problem. And of course we have a new mattress now too, so it's a bit more up more than it was before because the computer used to be down a lot more. So we changed it around a bit. So two new things. So hopefully it's a bit brighter. I'm sure it's a bit brighter. Don't let me know if you think it's a bit brighter. Good evening, Sean. How are we keeping? How's our Saturday going? How's our weekend going? Yeah, I say. How are we keeping? I could have had you on this evening, actually. I only thought that now. I presume you got notification too. Hopefully, maybe notifications fixed. Maybe, possibly, could be. But yeah, so hopefully it's a bit more brighter. I can really tell it's a bit more brighter because I recorded a few videos earlier on. They're far more brighter. And of course, you can see a bit more too because the mattress. I have a new mattress now, which is going up a lot more. If that makes any sense. It doesn't make any sense, but look at. Hello, Sisha. How are we keeping? I hope your flu is a bit better. Hopefully, it's gone since the last time we were talking. Hopefully, you're feeling a bit better, and I hope, of course, having a good weekend so far. But yeah, so it's a bit more brighter. I can tell by looking at this. I'm just looking at the bit of the stream here now. It's a lot more bright. It's about time, I suppose, we got to walking. What the fuck is this? So yeah. I know we are early too. I said 6:30. We're here before 6:30. So yeah. But look, it's better to be here than not here. If that makes any sense. Let me see where I am now. Sorry. So we do have a bit to talk about. Since Wednesday. Mein Gott. Who is devoting you all? Actually, funny story. We still must start recording that video. I'm probably going to record tomorrow a bit of it. Even though it's going to take 900 years. So, funny story, that probably start tomorrow. Like the intro of it. Like that's just the intro. We haven't even started. It's going to take 900 years. Let's put it out. It is going to take months. Like we haven't even started yet. But the good thing is, why I quit volunteering video. Do you remember I was saying about that? That is fully recorded. It needs to be edited a bit. So that should be up by probably April. I'm going to wait until about beginning of April, end of March. Something around then. I'm not going to... We have it all recorded. It's just editing it and stuff. So that's what I was doing over the weekend too. So that's about maybe 30, 40 minutes. Like this video is going to be longer. Like I am actually afraid to start it because it's not just one picture now; it's two pictures. Like beforehand, it was bad enough with one picture. Now we have two pictures. You have to try and explain this, so it's going to be difficult to explain. Well, not difficult to explain, but you get it. It's a lot of explaining to be done. So yeah. Look forward to that. It's going to literally be 10 hours, just to say. Like, actually, will be just 10 hours. Because, I have kind of done up the script. But what I mean by script is just the points. The bullet points. I'm not sure yet, but it's on this here. we are at 6 pages already. And this is just bullet points. Like, just looking back, it's on this actually. It's about 6 pages. So that's just the bullet points. That's not even anything else. So yeah. Oh, I know. I'm just telling you because it is literally going to be insane when that does come out. Like that's going to be insane. Like the Hope and Action review was insane. Like that was insane. Like literally, it was the longest review of whole book. Like nobody else done a longer review than mine on the book. So So I have the world record on that. So yeah, but no, it's going to be a long time. It will be a long time. Bumper. One second. I'm presuming Sean's having his dinner. We could have had Sean tonight, Sean, but I suppose it's too late now. You have to come to me now first thing on the stream, like before we even go live. Because I've been trying to hunt this man down for the last few weeks. But see, I always forget about it. That's the thing. Of course, the offer's there for you, Sisha, too, if you wanted to come on. Just to say, too, the offer is there to people. If anybody, well, pretty much any of the regulars, if they want to come on, they can, of course. But yeah, so how are we keeping any fun? Any news? Any news? Well, there's a bit we have to talk about. We give it, the usual thing. We give it a few minutes, and then we yap, all the way yapping. I hate YouTube ads. I suppose we start with former Prince Andrew Lord Mountbatten, Andrew Windsor Mountbatten. So I'm sure we all heard the news that he was arrested and then let out. But the police are still searching his properties. So it's fair to say Andrew's in a lot of trouble. It's about time, to be totally honest. This should have happened about 10 years ago. So we'll see what happens there. But I also want to talk about he'd never go to bed. We see, but this is the first time you had to remember in 400 years that a member of the royal family was arrested. So it's it's a long time. 400 years is an awful long time. So it's quite bad. Like this is bad. Like this is badder than the abdication crisis. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but the abdication crisis before the Queen's father, King George VI, it was King Edward. And he gave up the throne for Wallace Simpson, an American T4C. He was the only British monarch ever to give up the throne. This is a bigger crisis for the British monarchy than that, what I'm trying to say. And the British monarchy was in jeopardy back then. Like, it's definitely in jeopardy now, the British monarchy. Like, it might not survive much longer, what I'm trying to say, over Prince Andrew. So I presume they're just trying to throw him under the bus to try and save themselves. Because it is that bad. Like, it is that bad. Andrew, but he's Andrew Windsor Mountbatten or something like that. That's his title. He used to be called Prince Andrew, but he's Andrew Windsor Mountbatten or something like that. But hopefully he will go to prison, because it's a quite serious offence, because it's a misconduct from public office. Because obviously he was giving private information, British government information to Jeffrey Epstein. Not only was he abusing girls, etc., there's no doubt about that. But he was misconduct in public office, and especially the position he held. So we see what happens to him, but I don't know. We see what happens, but I do think they probably will have to do something, because it's not going to go away. That's the thing. Like, the royal family, they have to do something, basically, if they want to survive themselves, because it's not good for the royal family. Like, every day it's getting worse, so they kind of have to do something. Like, they were kind of forced to do something. because it's very bad. Like I don't think you know how bad it is, but it's very, very bad. Like never before, I don't think it's the British monarchy. As I say, from King Edward when he was signed the throne for Wallace Simpson. Never before there was such crisis in the royal family. Of course, an Irish person done with the royal family, but you get what I'm saying. It is quite bad. Like, it goes all right the way to the top, especially because the accusation at the moment too is the late Queen paid off the person, the Australian woman, I can't think of her name, but Virginia Giuffre, yeah, that's all. That they paid her off to be quiet during the Queen's Jubilee. So it's quite bad. And this is the British taxpayers' money was used to silence. So, hello, Greenface. How are we keeping? But it goes all the way to the top, basically. I suppose the next thing we have to talk about, the colon. The Holland, you mean? No, we're not watching the Holland, or the colon. But I suppose everybody's heard about Donald Trump's tariffs. So he's announced just there, literally about an hour ago, he's announced that it's 15% now instead of 10%. Yesterday it was 10%, now it's 15%. On all countries, every country in the world, pretty much. So there's huge repercussions from Donald Trump's because the Supreme Court, I don't know if you know, but the Supreme Court said that the president didn't have the authority to impose tariffs, etc. So that's what's happening, basically. So he's trying to go with another legislation to go past the Supreme Court to try and bring in tariffs. It's a big rigmarole, but yeah, it's a weird blow to Donald Trump's plans. And it's not great because it's quite bad, because that was the whole strategy of the United States of Donald Trump, to gain the money for the United States in tariffs. And of course, they just basically have to bulldoze and that. But you probably find another way around it. But I don't know, because the Supreme Court, if it goes back to the Supreme Court's going to say the exact same thing again, that the president hasn't got the authority to do this. But yeah, it's 15%, which is a lot. 15% on goods is a lot of money. A lot of money for businesses in particular. Yeah, well, not necessarily. Depends, because they probably will have to go back to the Supreme Court, because the Supreme Court has said basically that the president hasn't got the authority, full stop, to impose tariffs and stuff under the act that he was doing. Now he's talking about imposing a different act, a different power, but I don't think the president has the authority in the American Constitution to do it. So it's going to be hard to know if he has the power to do it under a different act. It's a load of complicated. I'm trying to summarize it the best I can, but it's a complicated thing. But I don't know. It's hard to know, because obviously I'm not enshrined in every inch of the U.S. Constitution and what the road, everything, all powers of the presidency, etc. But I don't know. It's not going to be that bad. But if he says now, for example, if it's anything above, in my opinion, if it's anything above 25%. That's trouble. If anything above 25%, I do think 15% is manageable. For small businesses, of course, it's not manageable. But if it's anything above 25%, I think there'd be a lot of job losses. There might be a few, but if it was any more than 15%, definitely there would be a lot of job losses. But there will be some, of course. But I think Ireland might be fine in a lot of the case. It's other countries that might fare the worst. Not so much the European Union. It'd be more so other countries. Hello, Aaron. How are we doing? But yeah, so we see what happens. But yeah, we don't know, I suppose, what's going to happen next. But yeah, Donald Trump is having a meltdown. Of course, too, just speaking about the United States and stuff, of course, the United States is probably going to strike Iran within the next while. So we see what happens. But most likely, probably will happen. I think it's going to happen before Wednesday or so. I think it's very likely that it probably will happen before Wednesday, that the United States will strike Iran. because the United States has moved an almighty fleet and an almighty amount of planes and stuff. So it's definitely possible that by Wednesday, or so by this time next week, Iran will be struck. So we see what happens. But I do think there's going to be war in the Middle East. Mainly it's to defend Israel, the United States of Israel. Of course, I'm sure people have seen Tucker Carlson's interview too of the Israeli ambassador the United States ambassador to Israel. He said the quiet part out loud in one case. I can't repeat what he said, but he said something that you're not supposed to say. I don't know, did he know he said it, but he said it anyway. But yeah, it doesn't look great. It doesn't look great in the old US of A. Because they might as well call it the United States of Israel. Let's put it that way. Also, the internet's losing the plot at the moment. But yeah, my leg's dying. We're all dying. But yeah, so we see what happens. But what do we take? Do we take that the United States will go in on Iran? What do we take? Do we think that's possible? What do we take? Do we think he will do it, or what's the story? Because it is hard to know. Because it doesn't look like Iran wants to make a deal anyway, as he keeps saying. That could all change. Yeah, but especially now they've moved a big aircraft. It was the Abraham Lincoln. That's the name of the aircraft. Yeah, it's currently going through the Suez Canal. This is a big, huge American aircraft carrier with about maybe 10,000 or so sailors and airmen on it, with about 100 jets or something like that. So it's an insane amount of firepower. Like the numbers on that ship alone is more than in the whole Irish army, just as in that wooden ship. So yeah, definitely, and especially because they're moving so much other aircraft and stuff. Yeah, we're not allowed to talk about that. That you're not allowed to go there. But no, I'm sure you've seen the interview with Tucker Carlson. I would recommend to watch if you have a chance, especially a few bits of it. Unfortunately, can't say much because the United States of Israel might be upset if I said something. But yeah, the American ambassador to Israel, I don't know what to think, but he's some fella. We don't answer. That's the way I phrase it. But yeah, but we see. It's hard to know, but I don't think Iran's going to make a deal. To be totally honest. Maybe they will, but I don't know. I think they would have done it by now, but clearly they're very defiant. Well, there was something else I was going to talk about, but I can't think of it now. So I'm sure we've seen this on social media, my community post on social media too, this image. And in the uniform from Galway. This is a food bank in the university. Now, if you look closely in the background, I don't know if you can see that well, but if you look closely into the image, a lot of these people are Indian, a lot of these people are Chinese, and a lot of these people are not Irish, basically, what I'm trying to say. So they're here on student visas in a lot of cases, a lot of these men. The first fellow is Irish, it looks to be. But I don't know after that. Like, all down the line, it seems to be foreign nationals. People that are here on student visas. Now, obviously, the government should be checking to see can they support themselves coming here, because there's no point accepting a visa of somebody if they can't support themselves here. And of course, the government can help them out a bit in terms of giving them a few bob a week to look after themselves. But at the end of the day, they should be able to support themselves too, if you're in another country. But of course, it is hard on students too. Like, I know so many young Irish students too. It is tough on them. Like, I know one fellow. Thankfully, he's got a apartment and stuff. But this is the thing: he's not on his own. He has 3 other people with him, the Irish people he knows from his time at school. So in fairness, he's not that bad, but still at the end of the day, he is bad because at the end of the week, guess how much he's been charged along with these other students because again, they're splitting the rent. Like it's nearly 800 a week. This is a private accommodation in Sligo. It's 800 a week basically for the three of them. So they have to try and split it equally. So they pay the 300, whatever it is. They split it among the three of them, if that makes any sense. But still, it's a lot of money. 800 is a lot of money. Now, he does have a part-time job. And he doesn't get much. It's about, I think he said, it was what was it, 270 something like that a week. So basically, half his money basically goes towards the rent, and the other half towards the bills. And he's Irish, and the other three people with him are Irish. And the government give him very little and supports and stuff. Of course, he gets a SUSI grant, a bit of a SUSI grant. But he has to go and work part-time to support himself. And he's full-time studying too, just to say. Like, he's working the weekends and stuff. So he has to work, basically, and along with study and stuff. And he's Irish too, and the other two are Irish, and they have to work too. They work part-time jobs too, just to pay the bills and stuff. So it's difficult. It's not easy for students, for Irish students either. But they should be looked after more than people that should come in here. Yeah, but this is the thing. The college universities, a lot of cases, it's free. Like they're free. They're here free. The European Union are paying for it. Like for a lot of Irish students, they have to pay for it themselves. Like them people I know, they have to fork it out themselves. They're forking out the money themselves. Like he paid 2,000 something euro to get into his place in college in Sligo. That's before he even got his place. So he paid 2,000 euro. He had to get the money and pay it, before he went to college for his yearly tuition fee. Now the SUSI grant is covering some of it. But he still has to fork out 2,000 euro, regardless of how you look at it. And he's an Irish citizen. By right, Irish citizens should be getting it for free instead of the other way around. Like the majority of these Indians and stuff like that, they're getting it for free. Like the European Union are paying for it in a lot of cases. Like they are paying it. There's huge grants for third world countries to come to Europe to study. You get what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. That's the point I'm making too. There shouldn't be coming. I know. I understand. Some people can come here and stuff, but to study, I don't mind. At most, there should be only 4,000 people coming to study. There was 60,000 last year. They came here to study. Would you believe? It's insane. More than in France and Germany, just to say too. But that's like taking out. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But that's what they're getting it free. They wouldn't be coming here if they had to pay for it. So, but that, like, they wouldn't be coming in such numbers if they didn't have. If they had to fork it out of their own money, they wouldn't be coming here. Simple as that. But it's not fair because Simon Harris did promise. Like, in fairness, when you make a promise, you should keep it. Like Simon Harris promised, and I've seen him many times before the election. He promised every Irish student, "Oh yeah, the government will make it free." And by right, it should be free for Irish students. Like when I'm going to college, you'll probably beginning of April, something like that. Like not college itself, like Dublin and stuff. It'd be only the Low Institute here in Cavan. Then maybe on to Dublin after that. Like there's no hope of me getting any support, just to say. I was already inquired about it. I won't get anything, basically. They don't like me, so that's to be totally honest. So I'm not going to get any help. So it's going to be out of my own pocket that I have to pay for everything, and rightly so. But what I'm trying to say is, an Irish citizen in 2026, it probably should be free because the others, like the Nordic countries, Norway, Sweden, Finland, have for years had free education for their own citizens and stuff, and it probably should because Ireland is paying. The Irish people are paying a huge amount in taxes, so it should be probably for Irish people should get it for free, at this day and age, in 2026, it probably should be. Hello, great. How are you doing, Patriot? Little England, yeah. Sorry, how are we keeping? How's the Saturday going? Yeah, it seems to be, but again, the government allowing this to happen. They don't have to take in all these people because they know. It's the same with the European Union, but But I do think it should be free, like for Irish students, not just for myself. I'm not saying it just because I'm going to be going to college. Like I have to fork out a lot of money to go. It's not going to be cheap, because basically it's already been said there's not going to be any support for me. But it's mainly just out of spite. That's what a lot of it is. It's out of spite, in my regard. So I think that's probably we'll see what happens when the time does come. But very little support going to be given. What I'm trying to say. Not out of the school's fault. I think it's the government's fault more because there's no really care, particularly because I have dyslexia and stuff. They don't want to deal with me. Basically, that's to be generally honest with you. And probably who I am too. They know exactly who I am. Exactly. So they're not too. A lot of them are not too keen about it. And it's more Dublin that's the problem. what's coming down from Dublin about me. But yeah, so it'd be good fun whenever I do get up to Dublin. It's not going to be accepting the ND, but yeah. But yeah, no, it should be free. Like, it really should be free for Irish citizens. Because, as I say, in Finland, they've been doing it for the last fucking 40 years for their own citizens and stuff. But again, like, that's why people pay taxes and stuff. And it's a lot of money nowadays on students. As I said about that young lad in Sligo, it's a perfect example. Like, he has to work a part-time job in the weekends, and he's full-time at college, and he has to stay in with 3 other people. And they're basically giving up everything. Like, they don't really have much left at the end of the week, because it's 800 a week for the rent. And they couldn't get a student accommodation, right? Because the student accommodation's all for housing refugees in Sligo. So they had to get a private accommodation. They were lucky to get it at the price they did, because they know other people that are really struggling. Like, one of them had to take out a loan. We're not there, these people specific, but they know people that had to get private accommodation was €1,000 a week or something like that, because they can be just whipped off. So it's insane. And this is in Sligo. This is not even in Dublin. So imagine if he went to Dublin, there wouldn't be any hope. Yeah, but I don't have a medical card. Obviously, I'm working full time, so I'm not entitled. I'm just over the threshold. Of a medical card, I don't have one. I had one when I was at secondary school, but I don't have one now, because obviously I'm over the limit and stuff, in terms of what I get, etc. By not much, like barely, probably 10%, 20% over the limit, not by much. But I don't go to the doctor often anyway, so it's not like I need it or anything. But I know there is a Susie grant and stuff like that. There's grants and stuff. Like, there's supposed to be something for special needs, people with idiots, basically, like myself. But not likely I get that either. So, because the Irish government don't like me. That's my general answer. But yeah, not likely I get it, to be totally honest. But we see when the time comes. But what I'm trying to say, it's still tough on Irish people too. Like, it's tough on them. Like, they're only working part-time and stuff. Like, it's not easy. And that's only their rent. So it's 800 a week for the 3 of them, and they're only working part-time. And then they have to pay electricity to pay for that. And it's a lot of going. And it's not really fair on them, to be totally honest. Because they're Irish citizens. And again, unfortunately, when they get out of college, as one of them said, it's the man that I know that's in Sligo, he said he's going on for an engineering course. But the thing about it is, when he's finished it, as he said to me rightly so, when he comes out, he's going to get no job in Ireland. So unfortunately, he'd have to leave, because that's a bizarre. Because he's originally from Cavan, obviously where I am from, but as he said, there's very few jobs going for engineering around Cavan or like that. So unfortunately, he'd be another fellow that'll have to get onto a plane and off to Australia he'd go. Because, like many like him, that he knew beforehand, they all left to go to Australia. They were all in another country, because they simply had nothing here when they got out. Even though he's doing well in his engineering course, but when he gets out, he's going to have nothing, because there'd be nothing for him here. Yeah, and then medical cards hard to get, but it's only really people that are on social welfare and stuff. Like, it depends. Like, the threshold is higher than there was, of course, but I'm just above it by a bit, not by much. Usually it's people on social welfare and stuff that have a medical card. And people who, a lot of cases, maybe some people work part-time. It depends on their salary, I suppose. But I would get $450 a week, like where I work at the moment. What I was told because when I left secondary school, I was on the dole for 3 or 4 weeks before I got onto my job, and I had a medical care for them in 3 or 4 weeks. But when I went off the dole into my job, like, there was a big discussion about it at that time, that I was just over the limit, basically, because they would say if you were getting $350 a week or something like that, you could keep your medical card. Something like that was $350, $300 a week. But I was getting 400 at the time. Now it's $450. But not for much longer. But you get what I'm saying. So it was just over it by a bit, because it was $350 at the time. I think it was. It might be more now, but I'm still not entitled to it. Medical card, and I shouldn't get it because I'm not entitled. I can pay for it myself. If I was sick in the morning, I could pay for myself, which is a good thing. Not many people can say it, but I can pay for myself if I was sick in the morning. And not to mention, as I said to you before, I wanted the doctor sort. Every once in a while when I was at my job, you had to get a medical form from the doctor to say that you were still fit to walk, etc. Like a checkup, I suppose, just to make sure you're fine. And I told you about this. This was only last year. It was €30 just to get the form. I had to go into the doctor. They paid €30 for the form for 5 minutes. That was it. So That was just taught him. That was 5 minutes, literally filling him form, and that was it. So it's a lot of trickle about. But I never was in the dock in a long time. Thankfully, apart from that, but never was in it since. But I don't need a medical card. There's people that need it more. But it's hard to get it when you do apply for it. But you usually would have to be on social welfare and stuff like that. So I don't know what's going to happen. I probably maybe would be entitled to when I leave my job, but I don't think I'm not going to go bother looking for it. Unless I get really, really bad or something like that, but not likely. But I'm not going to go looking for it. I probably would be entitled to because I'm not going to get another job. Like nobody's going to employ me, basically. That's just plain obvious. Nobody's going to do it around cavan. But yeah, so yeah. Yeah, just slightly because when I went, you remember, because as I said to you, when I left secondary school, for all the time I was in secondary school, I had a medical card. But then when I went, I was 4 weeks on the dole before I got my job because they needed the process, etc., all that kind of details. And then when I went on to my job, because it's full time, etc., and it's just over, a bit over, not by much. At the time, it was a bit more, I suppose, maybe than. But that's what was said to me, that I wasn't entitled to. I didn't oppose them taking it away or anything. I said, okay, fair enough. I didn't really care because I never really used it. Very seldom did I use my medical card. But yeah, so yeah, it was just slightly over because that's what was said. It was just over by maybe 50 or something like that. Or something like that. That was like very small. I think it might be a bit more. Like I get 450 now a week for the moment, to a few weeks time. I was just over it because I think it's about 350. Maybe it's a bit more now, but I'm just over the threshold by a bit. But see, a lot of Ukrainians not working. I'm working full time. In a few weeks' time, I won't be working, so I don't know. I won't get anything basically. Well, straight to. I'm not even going to bother because I don't need the medical card, so I won't go looking for it. Now, I would be entitled to, a travel card as a student and stuff. I'm not going to go looking for that either. Like it's a huge form and stuff you have to fill up, and I just couldn't be asked to look about it. Even though the refugees and stuff would get it straight away, they probably don't even have to fill in the form. But I'm not going to go looking for it. Simple as that. We'll see what happens. But what I know, there's going to be a Susie grant anyway. I'm probably going to get the lowest amount of a Susie grant, just out of spite. Probably that's what I say it's going to happen. But that's probably going to be my weekly income, whatever they give me in terms of allowances to go to college and stuff. Because this is an allowance to go to college, but obviously it's going to be a lot less than what I got in the wage and stuff. But I don't really care. As simple as that. But again, a lot of it's out of spite. That's as simple as that. It'll be a lot of spite. So you see. Oh, but yeah, no bother, Sasha, no bother. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I don't know, but it won't be as bad as Dublin. Dublin's going to be a hot fucking cut of a thing. If I do survive Cavan Institute, it's basically just to pass the time. To be generally honest, that's really what it is. I'm kind of buying my time into the next election, because there's no doubt. If there was doubt before I was going to go, there's no doubt in my mind now that I'm going to go. For the local authority election, and hopefully kick some ass. And it's not the fucking I want the money. It's just out to get them. To be totally honest, from Cavan College, not that far. It's only about 4 or 5 kilometers. Not that far, so it's not that bad. But still, there's a local lake and stuff going in. But if I had a student card, it'd be less money. But I'm not fucking bothered. Behind those walls, yeah. But yeah. No Sisu, what? But yeah, no. It should be fine, and we'll see how it works out. But yeah, it's unfortunate, but there's no way I'm going to get a part-time job or anything. That just to say straight up, because I've already asked one person, and he's not too keen on it. Oh, Susie Grant, yeah. See, I thought you were talking about the Finnish Sisu. I was like, what? Yeah, like there will be a Susie grant, yeah, but I think I'm going to get the lowest level of it. It's like there's 3 or 4 levels of it, what they give you. Like that's probably going to be my payment and stuff. But I don't know. I don't think there'll be much given. That's what I'm trying to say. But there will be probably some kind of allowance, like €100 or something like that a week or something like that. Because you have to remember too, it's different for the students. But I have a huge mark on my head because of things I've said and stuff like that. You're not going to get any other work as simple as that. And these people, I think the social welfare crowd in Cavan, when they found out who I am, when I do go, if I do have to go into them and stuff, they know rightly, you're not getting anything. Every penny. Oh no, the good thing about it, I don't drink and smoke, so we have a good bit saved up already for a rainy day. Yeah, something like that. It probably would be something like that. It depends. But obviously be the lowest level. But I don't really care. It's not like I go off drinking or that, so I don't really care. And I'm not going to shut up. I could shut up in the morning and get a big probably grant. Like it probably would happen. Like I know widely it probably would. Because see, all of them know who I am. They know what I say and they know what I think. And I'm not afraid to tell them what I think. And that's the thing. Nobody. That's what I'm saying. So not a hope me get much in life. In any other job now, and that's what I. Because you're not getting. Because as I said to you, I don't know to finish my sentence, but I asked the man. He's a decent enough fellow, but as he said to me, basically, I'm too. You never know what I could say, and it might reflect bad in his business. It's not that he doesn't want to employ me. He thinks I'm a good worker. He thinks I'm was the best that he's seen in the council. Take whatever. But he just simply doesn't want to take the risk with me, and I respect that. I respect his honesty because he's just saying the truth. He doesn't want something that I say for example, on social media to go back at him. And I respect that. I respect his honesty because he literally met him. This was only part time. I was only asking for. Now it wouldn't have been too much. It would have been just only moving a few things in the warehouse he had. But he just didn't want to go back in his business. And I don't blame the man because that's who they would take it out on, unfortunately. The good thing about working for the state, even though over the years, I will admit, there was often pushbacks on some things I often said, particularly when it came to Santa Marin that time and the fellow that was abused. I said something about him particularly, and there was a few things said about that. Let's put that way. And then over the years, there was a few things I said about politicians that were often nudges and stuff, but they couldn't really get rid of you. And that's the thing, they couldn't really get, because I was already the lowest level and stuff like that. And so it would look terrible to get rid of me. So that's how I ended up pretty much here. But yeah, I could stay there until the day I die if I want to do, because they couldn't, regardless of what I said. Many times they tried, a few times to get rid of me, they couldn't. But but it was mainly because it was so low rank, it wasn't worth the hassle to get rid of me. But there was often times I said stuff that it came back at me and stuff, but it didn't affect me. I didn't bow to them. It's simple as that. And I still won't bow to them. So take that, if they're watching, take that as you will. No, it's not even that. This man, he's a good, decent fellow. Like he's a good fellow. And it's not that he's just worried about his business, and I respect it because he is a businessman. He doesn't want to go back on him. And at the end of the day, regardless of what I say, it's my own fault if I say something that somebody doesn't agree with. And say, for example, what's the target of his business? It's my response. I would rather them come to me, and give out to me if they've said something that annoyed them, than give out to your man, if that makes sense. But I understand his concern because that could happen. Yeah, I will Paul Kyo, nobody cares about him. He made off with a load of money anyway, so. But I regret nothing. That's what I'm trying to say. But we see how we go. I will report back and stuff when I do go to college and stuff. We see how we get. But the biggest issue for me, I don't know what has the opinion changed or what's the story. But obviously there'll be probably no support in terms of special needs because obviously I'm dyslexic and stuff. It's not as if, for example, an only person walking into college. They could fly through it. It's a bit more slow for me. Like I found secondary school and stuff hard. I'm not going to lie to you. But pretty much what was said, it's only going to be a few hours. Maybe you'd be lucky for a few hours a day. Maybe a few hours a week, sorry. So maybe only get an hour a week of extra help, if that makes any sense, from an SNA and stuff. So basically, there'll probably be no help, basically, to put it nicely, due to no SNAs and stuff. Because at the time when this was talked about and stuff with the people, we see what the opinion changed. But pretty much they haven't got enough SNAs. That's what I'm trying to tell you. and they're not willing to spend the money on it. As simple as that. Especially for somebody like me, they hate somebody like me, the government. So we see how that goes, but we see if the opinion has changed or not. It's not this. Don't blame Dublin is the problem, and that's what I see is the problem. So that's going to be probably the biggest obstacle, more than the money and anything else. That's going to be the biggest obstacle. Because unlike other people, like the man even I said in Sligo, like he has no special needs. He can fly ahead. I'm a bit more slow and stuff, and that's everybody's different. But particularly when you have special needs and stuff, it's a big obstacle. It really, really is a big obstacle. I can't emphasize that to you. But yeah, we see how that goes. But that's what's going to be the break, everything, But that's not so much going on. Hello, Kevin. Good evening. How are you keeping? How was our Saturday? But I'm determined to go through it anyway. I'm determined to go ahead. Well, it's not September, no. It's probably sometime in April. But I will tell you more about it when the time comes. Be totally honest. But we see. Yeah, well, this is the thing. A lot of them don't like me. That's what you have to remember. We'll see. I let you know more when the time comes. Because obviously I only have 3 weeks left, and I'm waiting for them to be done before I talk about a bit more after my walk. So we'll see what happens after that. Like pretty much, this is only a temporary course. Pretty much, remember that is. It's only a thing to kind of pass the time into sometime in September and stuff to go to Dublin. Or whatever it is, wherever they send me, probably to Mountjoy prison would be a nice place, but which don't mind who. Sorry, no, nobody's giving me grief. It's the councillors that don't like me. Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, they don't like me for many reasons. Like I suggested about Sean there that we take out his picture, not Sean Mack, but Sean the councillor. It's the Quisling of Cavan. Like I personally suggested that we should take his picture down and burn it outside the courthouse. Because his picture still sits in the council chamber, just as says when he was former Lord Mayor. And a lot of the councils are very annoyed about that. Because I literally suggested we burn it outside the courthouse. Because that's what the people think of Sean and McKiernan. And that's what they should think of him, as a scumbag, and he shouldn't be in the council chamber. He shouldn't be in the council chamber. There was many of them, like going back in the 1920s and stuff, they were in the War of Independence and stuff, took fire from the British to secure Cavan's independence and Ireland's freedom and sovereignty. And to have somebody like that in the chamber, the council chamber, is disgraceful. And I know some of the councils are very upset that I suggested we go and burn it outside. Because, a lot of people say it's the night of the long knives and stuff like that. But no, it's not that. It's just just to show how purely disgusted everybody at Cavan is with him. And I think that would be the ultimate insult to him personally too. And that he's sport nothing in this county. But yeah. Oop, everything died. Normal 40, yeah. Normal 40 is to blame for that, yeah. But I don't think Normal 40 is too happy with me either. Like, again, you have to remember, I really pissed off a lot of politicians in my time and stuff. I really pissed off a lot, particularly civil servants. I've pissed off a mighty amount of civil servants. Like, there's a lot of them in the county council here, and there's a lot of them in Cavan that absolutely despise me. They're out to just destroy me in every way, shape, and form, because they absolutely hate me, and simple as that. I talk about it. I've recorded my video. I'm sure you've seen the community post about why I quit volunteering and stuff. That's going to go up at sometime in April, beginning of April. Like, it's all recorded, etc. But it goes all the way to the top. And there's a lot to be said, and there's going to be a lot to be said, and it will cause a big of an echo. That's what I'm going to say to you. There's a lot to be said and should have been said a long time ago. But yeah, so the civil servants are more annoyed about me than ever. But they're going to be definitely annoyed. If they weren't annoyed before, they're going to be definitely annoyed now. But yeah, no, I'm going to be more as soon as in 3 weeks' time or so. I'm going to be a lot more just radical, as if it's that, to put it nicely. Like, I'm going to be absolutely off the rails in the next few weeks. What I mean by that is going to be a lot more extreme. So, Like, I've already got a lot more extreme over since December and stuff. I've said it from the beginning of the year that I'm going to be a lot more tougher on different things, and rightly so, because for too long I probably was too nice. In a way, I was tough. I was fair but nice. Nowadays, not so much. I'm going to be very tough. I'm still going to be fair with people. I'm not going to be a total arsehole and stuff to people, but I'm still going to be fair. But I'm going to be very bad. I'm going to be very vocal, more vocal than there was before about different things. Even in the language I use, etc. I'm going to be a lot more tougher. Because unfortunately, being nice gets you nowhere, and particularly in terms of the civil servants and these politicians stuff, they take kindness for and they abuse it. That's pretty much. Yeah, I'm going to be very tough, but I'm going to be fair at the same time. If people be fair with me, I'm going to be fair with them. But if they're going to be an arsehole, no, we're not the people. I'm talking about the establishment, the political establishment, the politicians, the councillors and stuff, and the civil servants and stuff. Particularly the civil servants. Like, I have a big grudge against them. But yeah, so. The councillors. Yeah, unparliamentary language, but not too unparliamentary language, but yeah. So yeah, we'll wait and see. That's when I have plans in the works. There's a spanner in the works. But I will contest anyway the next local authority election. There's no doubt about that. I'm determined to cause hell. That's my main agenda. To just cause almighty hell. And that's basically the main agenda. No, I'm not going to go throwing the weights around. If I was going to go, I probably should go into throwing the tables over. That would be the best idea. No, but yeah, that's my agenda for when I won as a council, just to cause almighty hell. And I think the way you cause almighty hell, it's just that give power back to the people, take the power away from them, these civil servants. And these councillors and TDs, take the power away from them and give them back to the people. That's what I think, because it's all about people. I think that's the thing, and I think that's the thing they're going to be the most afraid of when that happens. If I ever do get into it, that's what I'm going to try and aim for. I don't know. It would spoil the vote. I don't know, but see, there's so many people going. I've heard there's about nearly 12, 13 people going. So like compared to the presidential election, there's only 2 candidates. If that makes any sense. Like, you have 13 choices here. It's not like people are going to spoil the ballot, because you have 13. You have Malcolm Stevenson going. You have other people going. I think who else? What they call the Irish not the Irish Freedom Party. Maybe the Irish Freedom Party put somebody forward. Alan Forst. Not Shilna Helen. What is it? He does the Ireland Live. All of the other one. Paul Simons, that's who it is. Yeah, Paul Simons. I couldn't remember. Sorry. I think he's going for 2. I'm not sure. I can't remember the top of my head. See, there's that much happening in this country. It's hard to remember everything. I think he is. Yeah, I think he is. Maybe no, he is going for Dublin. Yeah, it's not Galway West. Yeah, Malcolm Stevenson's going. I don't. There might be other people. I can't think of it off the top of my head. Yeah, sure. But we'll see what happens. But there's a lot of people going for it. There could be 13, 14 people on the ballot. So I would suggest to people anyway, if you are in that constituency, Dublin Central, not to spoil your vote anyway. Maybe Jerry the Hutch, and of course Jerry the Hutch is going for 2. But I don't know, was he there to get the spoiled votes and stuff. But I don't know. It's hard to know, but I don't think the establishment would bring him in above anybody else. I don't think they would want to bring somebody like him in. Maybe so, but I'm not sure. But we'll see what happens. We'll talk about it in detail when it does happen, the election. It's because it's in May. You won't find it, actually. Because imagine, next Sunday is the end of February, beginning of March. So think about that for a second. Nearly 3 months down. No, I'm not going to become a judge. Jesus, no, I wouldn't want to go near a judge. But no, that's my goal when I wouldn't for the I'd probably definitely 100% unless I get sick or something like that, unless they shoot me. Definitely, there's no doubt about it. After meeting Santa Mountain, there's no doubt that that was already decided. That was pretty much already decided as soon as I met up that this was going to happen. That I was going to go for it, unless I'm stopped, of course. But no, my aim, like the whole establishment, is what that's what I'm trying to say. That there's no reform, and there's just total. It needs to be totally taken apart. That's the idea that's in cavan. And we need to give, instead of these civil servants and these councillors and these TDs, of course they still exist, but giving the majority of the power to the people, let the people decide. Because I think for fucking far too long in Cavan, that too many civil servants had a big head on them and they thought they were God, and I think we have to take that away from them. Yeah, like Patrick Quinlan now is the leader of the National Party. Yeah, no bother, Sis, no bother. Who am I missing? Hello, Fiona. Sorry, I was too busy yapping. Sorry. But yeah, so we see when that time, because it's still a long way off to the next local election. But it's going to be I'm very I don't mean to gloat or anything like that, but I'm a very unique person in terms that I'm not going to be the bog standard politician, especially now. I'm going to be off the rails, as simple as that. Never will be a politician like me, a councillor like me. What I'm trying to say, or if I won, not saying I will win it or stuff like that, but I'm going to be on another level. That's to be totally honest with you. Also, did you hear about the big crisis? There's actually a big crisis at the moment. I meant to say to you. This meant to be the top thing I made to talk to you about, because this is actually pretty dangerous. It's absolutely just atrocious. I don't know if you've seen this, but it's quite terrifying. I don't know. Does people know what I'm talking about? It is pretty dangerous. This is very radical stuff. No, you haven't seen this. Jeez, where he's been living on? What planet have you been living on? Also, Donald Trump is going to release the alien files instead of the Epstein files. He's going to release the alien files. So, we want the Epstein files. Here's the alien files. Yeah, invasion relief. Yeah, we're going in now. But no, no, it's this. So give me a second. See the whole screen. Santa Mountain's wearing a cross. Literally, some people actually had a meltdown over this. It's not a Christ on the cross, but there's a Christian cross. As you can see, it is a Christian cross. So a lot of people literally had a meltdown over this. Some lefty people literally had a meltdown that Santa Mountain had a cross on them. So there you go. So that's the biggest crisis of the year. Actually, I'm not kidding you. I was going to post some of it, but literally, some people had an absolute meltdown over this, that she wore a cross. Now, obviously, crosses can be an Orthodox, and it's not just Christians; it's Orthodox too, and some Protestant too wear it kind of cross. But yeah, that's insane. But a lot of people think that's a Christian cross, because obviously the cross is more associated with Christianity, with the Catholics more than anything else. Yeah, the modern mosques and stuff, it's insane. They've been planned at the moment. Who's what? You don't even know who this is. Yeah, some of them had a meltdown. Not everybody had a meltdown, but some people had a meltdown over it. Yeah, Orthodox and stuff, but yeah, that can be all. But it is a cross, you've seen it there. It is kind of like a Christian cross. I can't tell if it's because it's not like Jesus on the cross and stuff, but it is kind of like the sign of like a Christian cross, what you would see. But it's not like an Orthodox, because an Orthodox cross is weird, but you know, but yeah, a lot of people had a but yeah. But yeah, some people had a meltdown over it. So, but yeah, no, but I don't know. I don't know what to. Yeah, obviously, I don't know what a represents, but could be just Jewy and stuff. But a lot of people it caused a lot of debate. Let's put it that way, over the last few hours. Give me a moment, sorry. I'm just looking at this message. Sorry, 1 second. See, this is the worst thing about being live and stuff, because people message you and stuff, and you have to try. I like to try and respond to them, because they sometimes can feel that you're not listening to them, or whatever the case may be. Yeah, so apologies about that. So yeah, that's the biggest crisis of the year. So the Irish government are deeming it a hate speech offence. So yeah, great stuff. The Irish government already writing up a big statement on it. There's a lot more things I could talk about at the moment, but yeah, is there anything anybody wants to say or anything just when I'm here? Because I think we went on a lot about college and stuff today. Yes, what about her? I don't know if we've seen Emma Higgins yesterday and Fine Gael. So the Fine Gael, as we know, are desperate to bring in, you can't even see it, are desperate to bring in a digital wallet, digital ID basically, through your government account, so you can use social media stuff. So that's going well for them, because everybody's literally giving them fucking guff, and rightly so. Because Emma Higgins thinks it's the best things to slice bread, that we can control people, we can tell them when they can use social media and when they can't. So yeah, that's great stuff. We see how it goes for them. That's not going to go well for them, but And I just wanted to briefly touch on, we're talking about Epstein. I don't know if people have seen this video. This is a billionaire. He was up in front of the Congress. And basically his handler, let's call it a handler, because that's what he is, so-called lawyer, basically was like, if you say another word, I would fucking kill you. Excuse my language, but that's the words he said to this fellow. To this fellow. This is a billionaire fellow that was friends with Jeffrey Epstein and stuff. So pretty much this fellow, instead of being a lawyer, is a handler. That's what he is. Oh, which don't have all what? Sorry, what, Kieran? Sorry, apologies. You think they don't have all that already? Which all that? Sorry, apologies. What? Which what? Wait, which what? What? Which what? Which? Oh, digital ID. Sorry, yeah, apologies. I didn't know what you were talking about. See, this is when I go on about too many things. Yeah, well, it might not go well for them. That's what I'm trying to say to them. Because there's already people bringing up legal challenges against it, so it's not going well for them. It's not going down well. Because I just looked at it on social media, like the Fine Gael's account on Twitter, and you think everybody like, oh yeah, Fine Gael's the best. No, like everybody's giving them guff, so it's not going well for them, because they think everybody's going to lick it off the plate, but unfortunately not. What is the story with this Restore Ireland? Does anybody know? I know we talked about it the other day, but this is supposed to be a new political party. And I don't know much about it, to be totally honest. Does anybody know? Does anybody know about it? because I don't know. A few people actually asked me about it and said, "Do I know anything about it?" And I don't know, but it's different. Like we know who the leader is of the UK. We still Britain, for example. Um, we don't know who's behind the Ronaldo one, because there's no website, there's no just a Twitter account, but there's no like leader, like this is the leader, this is who's over, this is this. But I don't know because people have asked me, do I know about it? And I don't know anything about it because I haven't been talking to anybody about it, and I don't know them. It's simple as that. It'd be different if I knew somebody there, because a lot of people are like, what's the story here? And it's how the people coming to me to ask me, do I know about it? Yeah, so it's like they have a Twitter account, but there's no website. So as far as I know, maybe there is now. As far as I know, but I'm just interested to know what's the story. Because one person said to me that I was talking to me yesterday about it. They said, they hold them like every week. There's a new nationalist party, pretty much. Like this same fellow was in the Irish Freedom Party that I was talking to. And then he left for another political party. I think it was... What was it? Wasn't it Ben Gilroy's party? I think it was, what they got, Liberty Republic, I think it was, yeah. And then he left that, and it's just insane. Like, you leave one party and go to the next one. And then I think he went to Into at one stage, and then he left that too. So, it's like going around the wings. Thankfully, that's why I never was in a political party, because it's just a disaster in a lot of cases. I don't mean to sit down and say that. It just turns into infighting, and that's what it turns into. And it's always a disaster because it's too much egos and stuff in a lot of cases. And that's just the simple truth. But yeah, just to ask you this, is the lighting a lot better on this? Because I got a new light. It's supposed to be far more brighter and stuff. So hopefully it's a bit more brighter, the camera and stuff, especially when I'm recording it at night and stuff. But it looks to be a lot brighter. I've tricked around in the settings too a bit. So it should be a lot more brighter. Because at night time, particularly when I was live streaming, it was very dark. Well, not live streaming, more so for the videos. What the fuck is this? Sorry, come again? What's this? Ooh, what's this? Great stuff. No, it's not that I'm looking grand. I'm not looking for grandness. But it's just that it was dark. Like, if you look at some of the videos, it was dark. Like, like if you compare this, I can't really show that well, but if you have a look at it, it show a lot. But yeah, is there anything else? I suppose we just chat for a few minutes and then we leave it there for tonight. Like we could move on to a lot more stuff, but we won't tonight. I take this off too because I'm afraid of stabbing myself with it. But actually, fun fact, I actually did stab myself with this a few weeks ago. What do I mean by stab myself with it? The pin, like this bit of it, this bit that holds the pin, fell off. Thankfully, I was able to get it because it fell down my short. But yeah, I leaned to get up and I went straight into like my chest here. It left a bit of mark. It was on the other side. But it left a little bit of a mark. Thankfully, it didn't go straight in, but it did like punch the skin. Which was sore. It was sore. It was only small, like it is only a small thing on it, but it was sore now. It wasn't nice. But yeah, it can happen. But that's why you should put a title in. Because I kind of only have it sticking on me. I don't really have it formally in. And this one's a bit different than the other ones. Like these ones here are a bit more stronger with the back. This one's a bit more lighter. But yeah, the finished ones are more sturdier. The ones at the back, the finished ones are more sturdier. Also, I should just put on this too. I have these bracelets on my desk. I should put them on. Like I have them here on. I should be putting them on. Like they're here on. I should be wearing them. So yeah, anything else? Sorry, I know I'm getting distracted. So any news? What's the story in Balamoy? I've done much papers and stuff. It's absolutely insane. Looking looking at my money. No, I was just looking actually the other day. I meant to show you this. Just make sure there's no information or anything on these books. Along with Sandra Mowan's autobiography, I think I showed you this before, but yeah, there's two books that were released, like two self-autobiographies by people, not self-autobiographies, but by other people from, writing about Santa. These are these two books. Like, there's only two in the whole world, like, two at the moment about Santa. Like, two that people wrote, like other people wrote about Santa. If that makes any sense. Don't know why this is all roads and stuff. I still don't understand that, but yeah, this is just kind of the basic information and stuff. But yeah, this one's well detailed. Like, this one is well detailed. Like, there's a lot of pages in this one. Like, it's literally a full-on book. It's 89 pages. Like, it's a lot. Yeah, like, don't trust anything. If everyone only still here, as the person who played Michael DeSanto in GTA 5 said, don't trust anything you read on the internet, apart from me, of course. And of course, Santa Mowan. Trust Santa Mowan, of course. In Santa we trust, that's what I say. In Santa we trust. Indeed. Yeah, it's lies constantly from the mainstream media, particularly. It's all kind of gaslighting people. That's what it all is. It's all about controlling the narrative. It's 7:30. Jesus Christ, where did this day go? Jesus Christ, be praised. Also, the Germans are here. This is some warship, in fairness. I don't know if people know about the German warship that was still hanging about. Let me see. I'll just show you this. It was patrolling around Ireland. It's in Dublin. It was in Dublin yesterday evening. It came into port. What is this? A German? Isn't this the frigate? Yeah, this is a frigate. Yeah, I was going to say it's a destroyer. It's not a destroyer, but it's a big fucking hell of a ship. Yeah, this is a Deutsches ship. Big ship. I don't know if it's still in Dublin. It might be still in Dublin. But it was hanging around the coast of Ireland. It was just up and down the coast. Don't know why it was there. I presume it was just watching stuff. But yeah, it's a big ship. I don't think it should be coming into a neutral country of a NATO warship. But yeah, you know. I'm with German noises, yeah. But yeah, I don't know why it was about. So there must have been something on, because I don't know why it was hanging about. But it shouldn't be probably coming into Ireland. Like into an Irish port and stuff, the sitting port. So, but I don't know. I presume they were just watching the underground sea cables. That's what I presume they were doing. Also, there was a Norwegian Coast Guard ship. Yeah, that's it. There was a Norwegian Coast Guard ship. I know the Coast Guard ship, not a warship. It was a Coast Guard ship that was watching a Russian tanker off the coast of Galway, way off the coast of Galway now, but still in Irish waters. There was a Russian sanctioned tanker, like it was fucking rotten tanker, basically. What I mean, because it's fucking destroying itself. Basically, the tanker is so oxidized, the hull of it could just basically break into bits. But the Norwegian Coast Guard was watching it. I don't know why it was in all Irish waters, but it was there doing that. I don't know where the Irish Navy was, but they're apparently not home. So yeah, because it probably should be the Irish Navy's job to be watching the Russian tanker, because obviously it's under sanction. It probably shouldn't be here in the first place because it's under sanction by the United Nations. So the Irish government basically have right to take that tanker, even though the only thing it'd be used for is scrap, because these are Watton tankers. But probably by why they should be boarded by the Irish Navy, the Russian tanker and stuff. And of course, the Norwegian Coast Guard shouldn't be around here. But yeah, the Russian tanker, it's fair game if they do come into all Irish waters. They're fair game to seize, because obviously they're sanctioned, and they should be seized if they do come into Irish territory, because they've no business being here. Because they've no business in Ireland, these Russian tankers, or in Irish waters, especially because they are of environmental danger. Because these ships are just rotten. These ships are totally rotten. I don't know if you've seen the pictures of the ships that the US seized, just actually above us in Scotland. That Russian tanker, it was just rotten. The hull was rotten, because it was just not maintained and stuff. It was just totally rotten. The same with the majority of these Russian tankers, these Russian shadow fleet. They're a huge environmental risk because they're leaking oil and they're leaking just dirt. They're a huge environmental risk. So they shouldn't be probably around here. Because if one of them did sink, right, they would cause a huge environmental disaster. Especially in a lot of cases they're carrying oil, etc. And they're probably not properly secure in terms of the oil and stuff. They just would flow out if it did sink. It doesn't look like, actually, just the other thing I want to mention, just when I'm talking about Russia and stuff, it doesn't look like there's going to be peace. Donald Trump is talking about sometime in April he wants the conflict in Ukraine and Russia. Now, we heard this for the last 700 years. But it doesn't look likely. What do we think? It doesn't look likely that there's going to be any peace this year in Ukraine or in Russia. So we see what happens. But I don't think there's going to be peace this year. I don't. Mainly at the moment, just talking about the Russian-Ukraine conflict, it does seem to be Putin that's the person holding this up. Because they don't want a ceasefire, they don't want anything, pretty much, the Russians. But yeah, I think we'll probably leave it there for tonight. Unless anybody else has anything else to say. Unless there's something else somebody wants to ask me or talk to me about. But yeah, this Sean Farrell, we have to get him on someday, because I've literally said it to him about 20 times. Because he said, oh yeah, I want to come on and talk. And just to say to anybody else that's here, with Fiona or Aaron only and stuff, you can come on any stage too if you want. For a few minutes. That option's always there if you want to come on at any stage. And of course, Saoirse too. And if Greenface is still here too, of course, he has that option too to come on. Yeah, but see, Russia's not doing well at the moment either. It's doing quite bad. There's huge economic problems in Russia too. A lot of people are going into debt, etc. A lot of Russian citizens are going into debt. It's not going well in a lot of cases. It's in the best interest, and Russia's losing a lot of people too. I seen the other day, there was I think it was what they call the Caucasus, what they call the big mountains between the European part of Russia and the Asian part of Russia. You know what I'm talking about? That mountains there, the Caucasus. No, not the Caucasus. The big mountains that separate the European Russians from the Asian Russians. I can't think of it. You know what I'm talking about? Them mountains. From one part of them regions there's a young fellow that went off to Ukraine, a young Russian fellow. He was only about 19, and so he got his head blown off. And unfortunately for his mother and father, the Urals, that's it. Thank you. That's it. He's from that part of Russia, and he got his head blown off. And he's only 19, and so. But the Russian government, they didn't give much. I think it was something like 1,000 rupees or something like that they give the parents. That's what they give them, 1,000 rupees, and that's it. There you go. Here's your 1,000 rupees for your son's debt. And that's it to get nothing else. So it's not great now. Let's put it that way. For their son to have his head blown off and and get 1,000 rupees, which is probably only about maybe 30 euro our money, something like that. Maybe it's a lot of money to them, 1,000, but still probably not a lot for a 19-year-old lad getting his head blown off for Russia. It's not much care the Russian government seem to care about, because he probably shouldn't have got his head blown off in the first place, because there's many like him, unfortunately. But that's what I'm saying. But their family, they already do have a son. So that's what I'm saying. So I don't think money can even replace that. But there's loads of young Russians dying too, and there's many families like it. So that's what I seen. And even they're not happy. And one of their cousins is getting arrested too, because he was denouncing Russia's war in Ukraine, because obviously his cousin got his head blown off. So you think he would be very upset about that, because in the first place he shouldn't have been sent to Ukraine. They shouldn't have started in the first place. But he's getting arrested too, his cousin, because he's questioning the war, and you're not allowed to question the war. But any reasonable person would when they see a 19-year-old lad get his head blown off, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying. But still, like Putin, like the longer this goes on, the more young Russians die too. It's not just the Ukrainians that are dying; it's young Russians like him too. And there's no glory in it. Like, it's no glory for the Russians too, because they're losing people too. So, and as I said, that's one out of many. That's only one out of many stories. But the only reason how we know about it is because his cousin got arrested for speaking out about it. So only for that we wouldn't have known about it. But sure, God knows what happened to his cousin. He's probably going to be sent off to Siberia into some work camp and stuff. So he's probably going to lose. He's probably going to die too. But you know what I'm saying? Like, Russia's not winning too. Like, nobody's winning from this conflict. There's 25,000 or something like that a year. Which is a lot. No, not 25,000 a month, Donald Trump said. People on Russia and Ukraine side, like 25,000 is a lot of people to die every month or so. Well, this is the thing. I don't think anybody's safe, because there was oftentimes 17-year-old people that signed up for the Russian army. They didn't come back. A lot of young Russians, they heard about going off to war, etc. And they signed up because, again, the Russian army doesn't really check people's ages and stuff. So they basically go out to conflict and get their heads blown off. That's really it. Because this young lad, apparently he didn't get enough training too. Like, apparently he was sent off to war. He never was at war, of course, before. He was just a conscript. That's what the Russians are looking for, conscripts, the fodder, pretty much. They probably didn't even give him. They probably only trained him for a week and let him out to the front lines. And in his first engagement, he got his head blown off. That's the way it goes. But what I'm trying to say, there's no benefit to Russians either, because they're losing their lives too. But you think Putin would say, this is not great, we're losing so many of our young people, because it's not the elderly people, it's all the young people. That's what's happening. And the same with Ukraine too. There's a lot of young Ukrainians dying too. The conflict should never start. Nobody wins in war. Basically, the only people who benefits is Putin and the cronies in the Kremlin, etc. The military-industrial complex in Russia. They're the only people who benefit. The same in the West, NATO and the military-industrial complex, the politicians. They're the only people who benefits in the West too from it. It's not the only people. Because in Russia, they're paying high electricity bills, they're paying high fuel, and paying for everything, because the war is catching up on it. Of course, Russia is running out of money too, because it takes a lot to finance a war too. But what I'm trying to say, and it's senseless, what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to say in the nicest possible way. It's senseless. Like, I'm not on anybody's side, pretty much, but Russia started the whole lot of this. That's what I'm saying. Russia went in on Ukraine. Putin decided in his own head that he was going to go into Ukraine. And we could argue about the reasons why he decided to do it, and NATO expansion, etc. We can argue that till the cows come home. But I think the main point we have to talk about is that too many young people, like, as I said, with that 19-year-old lad, he's only 19. He shouldn't have been in a battlefield in the first place to get his head blown off. He had a whole life ahead of him. And unfortunately, he no longer has that life. And now for the people in the Kremlin, that's pretty much what it is. Because there was no benefit to him. Like, he was thousands of miles away from his home. Like on the other side, like off a mountain, over the mountains in Asia, the Asia part of Wash, like no benefit to him. You get what I'm saying? I'm sure you get what I'm saying, but it was no benefit to him. And so that's what I'm saying. They should make peace. And particularly Russia, because it's Russia at the moment that's kind of holding it. Beforehand it was Ukraine, now it's Russia that's kind of stopping the peace process. From where I'm standing, anyway. Because Zelensky seems to be open for peace, like a ceasefire, which is better than nothing for a few weeks. Even if it was only for 2 weeks, it'd be still better than nothing. It would stop people being killed. But the Russians don't want that. That's the simple thing. But again, this is just what I see, and I know people disagree with me, but I think everybody should agree that it's benefiting no one. That's what I'm trying to say. But yeah. But unfortunately, there's many stories. We could sit here for an hour or two talking about it. Because you see so many stories, and I see it all the time on social media. It's constant. But yeah. Is there anything else, sorry? But yeah, war is good business for the people at the people that don't have to fight the war. But for the only person, it's not good business. Too many people die and too much destruction. But yeah, so yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all she wrote, I think, for the night. We hopefully will be back Wednesday, all going well. Yeah, we should be back Wednesday. I don't think there's anything on Wednesday. Not that I know of. But anyway, that's it for the moment. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate you being here tonight. I know we went on a bit longer than we usually would. We would chat again Wednesday. There's a video up at the moment too, just to say. So yeah, that's pretty much it for tonight. So yeah, thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I see you Wednesday. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Kirill. Thank you, Saoirse. If Greenface is there here too, and of course Fiona too, and a few other people came in throughout the chat too. So thank you for being here. I appreciate it. We'll chat again Wednesday, and I see you later. Thank you.